a good halo ring. When I think of halo engagement rings, I just feel lit from within. Last week, I had a client across the country who discovered my video on seamless halos. She wanted a halo engagement ring, but she didn't know what style she liked best. So she asked me what my top 5 favorite halo engagement rings are. I'm Vanessa from Vanessa Nicole, where I create custom diamond engagement rings for clients all over the world, and I specialize in seamless halo engagement rings. Now, if you've seen my previous halo videos, you know the importance of a seamless halo. So we'll absolutely get to why that's so important later in this video. But the truth is, I fall in love with each halo ring I make because as the artist creating it, each one has a lot of care, precision, and just time devoted to it. Let's dive in because this collection of halo rings I'll be sharing has something special for everyone, so you can decide what design excites you the most. Oh, and they're fully customizable to reflect your personal taste, so you can select the type of metal, the diamond shape, and even make modifications to ensure your dream ring becomes a reality. And all of our custom rings are created from scratch exclusively for you. When it comes to classic halo diamond rings, this is the type that I get the most requests for, and it's also one of my favorites because everything about it is timeless and classic, and it is literally just a halo around the center diamond and then diamonds down the side. One of the things I really keep in mind with the classic halo style is the proportion of the halo and band next to that center diamond. So the band is more traditionally called the shank. So in this case, I'm going to refer to it that way. A lot of my clients will refer to it as a band, but really when I'm saying the word band, I often think of the wedding band. So in this case, I'm going to refer to the halo and the shank, which are the two main components of a halo ring. So if you take a look at the halo, you want it to be proportional to the center diamond because you don't want to overpower the shape of it and the size of it, because if you do that, it's actually going to make the center diamond look a little bit smaller. It's kind of a visual trick. So by making it proportional, that is going to enhance the center diamond rather than overpower it. And one of the ways that I do that is I take the measurements of the diamond and I scan the diamond, the outer shape of it, and then I make that halo perfectly proportioned to that center diamond. And then the next step is making sure that the shank is going to be in perfect proportion with that halo. It doesn't necessarily mean they have to be the same size, but they do have to look harmonious positioned together. Now, if you want to have higher contrast with the wedding band next to the engagement ring, then you want to have a petite shank on the engagement ring so that way you can really have that visual contrast with a much wider wedding band, such as this ring here. And so what that achieves is this beautiful mismatched look, but it looks as though it was meant to go together with it. Whereas if the band and the shank were the same width, it might start to overpower the finger. And sometimes people actually stack several rings onto the finger, in which case you don't want one that is too big or two that are too big in size, because you really want that mismatched look for contrast, but it still has to harmoniously all go together. So stacking rings right now is a very, very popular trend, and I don't see that going away anytime soon, especially with anniversaries. You can pair another wedding band next to it, and they don't have to be the same design, but it does have to look as though it matches the overall set as far as the proportions and symmetry go. I've seen halos that are much thicker next to the center diamond, and we don't necessarily use one same size diamond all the way around the halo. I really want that tight seamless fit, which sometimes requires the size to be adjusted, but it is important to pay attention to what makes most sense for that size of diamond. So a 2-carat ring would have a different size halo than a 1-carat, and same thing with a 4-carat versus a 2-carat. So every ring really is specific to the measurements of the center diamond. The classic halo is something that I really have not seen go out of style. It pairs with wedding bands beautifully, and this is just your timeless classic style of halo ring. The second top halo design is called a double edge halo. This means that there are diamonds on the top of the halo and also on the side. So when you tilt your ring 3/4 angles from side to side, you're going to notice diamonds basically everywhere. Now, here is an example of a CAD rendering that we showed a client of what her design for a dream ring would be. And then this is the final result of how it turned out. So as you can see, it's absolutely stunning and incredibly sparkly, and there are diamonds on both the top and the sides of that halo. Now I will tell you, on the top of this design, you'll notice that it looks like a traditional halo, which is perfect, and that's exactly what the client wants, but she also wanted extra sparkle. So if you're looking at the top view of that halo, you'll notice double claw prongs on that center diamond. When it comes to cushion shapes, it's ideal to have double claw prongs because that will hold in the diamond more securely than single prongs. Sometimes on a cushion shape, you can do single prongs and it will work, but structurally for certain ones, it just makes more sense to have that extra level of security because there are technically no corners of a cushion shaped diamond because it's almost like a pillow shape, so it has these rounded corners. Now the CAD rendering typically will look a little bit more bulky for the prongs than they do in the final result because it's just a CAD rendering and they're software prongs essentially, whereas I hand sculpt all of the prongs afterwards in the metal. So if you look at the final result, they look a little bit more sleek and more mimicking the facets of that diamond. So taking a look at a variety of different shapes, you can see how it pairs well with any type of diamond shape, and it's absolutely stunning and just looks incredibly sparkling. Yet from the top view, you have that classic halo appearance, and then from the side view, you have that extra pop of sparkle. So I wouldn't say a double-edged halo makes or breaks a halo ring. It's more just one of those nice bonuses to have if you have extra funds within your budget to accommodate that. You might wonder if it really makes sense to have a double-edged halo on a smaller diamond, but it doesn't really affect it too much, whether it's a smaller diamond or a larger one. I had a client who had a 3.5 carat double-edged halo ring, and she really wanted a lot of bling. That was the request. And so we even had a slightly larger diamond size on the halo at her request, just in order to make that very, very impactful, shall I say. And so we have the double-edged halo, and it really paired beautifully with that 3.5 carat center diamond. So it really doesn't matter if it's a large diamond or a small diamond. And if you have a 3.5 carat, we can certainly make it a more petite halo as long as it's still proportional. So I've seen larger halos and smaller halos that are completely proportional to that center diamond. It's just a matter of playing with the sizes and what fits best so that it doesn't overpower that center diamond. Halo design number 3. This is called a split shank halo. So if you take a look at the shank, there are 2 rows of diamonds, and it's absolutely sparkling. And the interesting thing about split shanks that I like is that they come in a couple different styles. So you can have more of a Y shape where it pinches towards the top and has this beautiful little dramatic curve at the top, or you can have more of a deep V split shank. And it's completely up to you what you prefer. One looks a little bit more modern, one looks a little bit more feminine and romantic, and so it's totally up to you what your preference is. Now when it comes to pairing a wedding band with a split shank, you want to be mindful of that in advance because it is going to require a shadow band which curves around the shape of the engagement ring if you do want to have no gap between the engagement ring and the wedding band. Now I will say some women like not wearing a wedding band, so they almost have this illusion of having 2 bands on their finger with a split shank, but it's just in the one ring. And other women really like having a lot of bands and in addition to the split shank. So there are options. We could have a band on either side for symmetry purposes, and they can be shadow bands that curve around the shape of that split shank. And it looks absolutely gorgeous. It just does fill out the finger a lot more with diamonds. So it's completely up to you. And that being said, if you have more of the Y split shank, you don't necessarily need a shadow band because a straight band pairs really beautifully with it. There'll just be an ever so slight minimal gap in between the 2 rings, which is really common. My top halo style number 4 is a halo with a smooth shank. Now this type of design is really interesting because it keeps all of the emphasis on the halo and center diamond. And when it's worn on the finger, it almost appears as though the shank completely disappears and just blends in with your skin, and all you're seeing is that pop of sparkle right on top of your finger. And so this can be a really beautiful effect depending upon what look you're going for. And a wedding band can pair beautifully with this type of ring for added contrast, because sometimes if you just have diamonds everywhere, your eye just focuses on sparkle, whereas other people like there to be some visual contrast between metal and diamond. So that's one of the options that you have with this particular style. When it comes to the shape of the shank, I typically go for a knife edge on top and then half round on the bottom. That's gonna make it really comfortable between the fingers. And then at the top, it almost comes to this beautiful knife edge pinch. And that really emphasizes the shape of the halo and center diamond. So that's something that I keep in mind, and we can definitely have a conversation if you like this style, where we can create the shape of the shank to be either fully round or flat or half round on the bottom and then that knife edge on top. So the knife edge is just a really nice, sleek design because it really makes the eye focus on only the sparkle that's on top of your finger. And last but not least, my top 5 halo ring design is a round diamond with a cushion-shaped halo. Now this is a unique spin on the halo ring when it comes to using a round diamond in the center, because the outside shape is halo, almost like a pillow, whereas you have the round diamond. Now this particular style is one of my specialties, and if you want this type, you want to go to a place that specializes in the round diamond within a cushion halo, because I will say there is nothing worse with a halo ring when it looks like there are gaps in those corners and that they weren't matched perfectly. You don't want it to appear as though you purchased a round diamond and you just set it into a pre-made cushion-shaped halo setting. You want it to look as if it was made for it. So the design that I create for this type of ring has minimal gaps on the corners, because the shape of the round diamond, it's obviously a full circle, whereas the cushion shape, if you just place it into a cushion shape, it's going to have gaps on those corners. So I want to minimize that as much as possible. So you can actually have a split shank on this type of ring and it looks beautiful, but you can also have a straight shank as well. So it's totally up to you what you prefer. The clients who typically go for this type of design is they love the faceting that's symmetrical that comes with a round diamond, just that round, brilliant, fiery appearance. And they love having single claw prongs, but they love the overall unique shape of the cushion halo. So by pairing them together really well, it looks absolutely stunning. And you can also play with the type of shank. Now, if you take a look at this design, this client loved the look of a wider band, but she didn't just want it to look blocky. She wanted almost like a lace effect going on. So we created a split shank and then inserted floating diamonds in between that split shank. So this was a way for someone who doesn't want a wedding band and they really want to see a lot of sparkle on their finger to have the unique shape of the cushion-shaped halo with a very unique type of band. So it really does pair nicely with a lot of different styles when it comes to the cushion-shaped halo when setting a round diamond in it. So if you're looking to create your very own custom diamond ring, feel free to reach out to the studio. I would love to learn more about what you're looking to create. And yeah, it'd be an honor to make your custom ring. All right, have a great rest of the day. Bye.